Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Living and Loving in the DR with Shauna and Nat. I hope you guys are having an incredible day. We have another special guest with us this time. Monica is chimed in all the way from Montreal, Canada, where I hear it's a little bit chilly right now. Not for Monica though, because she likes the cold. But for me, it will be chilly in a few hours. But today is really a special episode because Shauna and I have really come across quite a few people who have moved here in the DR and are not thriving. And when it comes to money, which is a bit of a taboo subject in some people's world, I know, Monica, that you meet a lot of people and it's a hard topic to talk about, but we really want to take this one head on and give people some tips and strategies to be successful and not go broke when you come to the DR. Shauna?
Yeah, no, for sure. That was one thing. We won't drop names, but we did see a lot of people come down here and, they came with whatever money that they had and they started living the fast life when they got here, going out to restaurants every night, going here, going there. If it's a bit much, right? So this is where I feel we need to connect into is that people need to budget. When you get here, doesn't mean you need to try out every restaurant the first week or the first month. And I find a lot of people did that. They overspent at the beginning thinking that money was going to come in when money wasn't coming in. They were just literally draining the money that they brought from Canada, because to get a job here, you need a cedula card. You need to be a resident, right? And then of course the salary is not to Canadian or American standards. So this budgeting with Monica, I'm like very excited to hear tips that she can share with all of us, because you don't want to just come here and blow through all of your savings. And trust me, we have seen multiple people do it. Multiple people do it in hopes that something else was coming. Well, if you don't have a plan, you will not survive here. You will literally leave here with your tail in between your legs, like literally broke.
Yeah.
Very true.
Monica, what are your thoughts?
So with that, I always say, my first suggestion is we plan 6 to 12 months ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
But you are going to go on vacation. I still do think, though, to separate I'm moving with the vacation. So instead of saying I'm going on vacation to Florida, I'm going on vacation to the Dominican Republic for 2 weeks. This is the budget I have for my vacation. So yeah, go to the restaurant, go do whatever you want, but that's your vacation budget. Now, if you're moving from one city to another, now you've got to get stuff on track. So if you plan 12 months ahead, which is normal, people don't move within 3 months. Even if you're moving from a city or a street to a street, it's all you maybe. It's always done with a plan in mind. You buy the house. Am I going to offer it? Is it going to work? The school, etc. for the kids. So 12 months, I think, is the great thing. Incorporate your vacation if you want. It's a great idea, but there's a beginning and there's an end.
Yeah,
but I also, the same way you use a real estate agent, the same way you use a social worker, whatever it is, that's where Natalie comes in, because I honestly do believe that paying a fee to you to save thousands of dollars and thousands of dollars is worth it. Paying a $4,000 fee for you to help them, coach them, or tell them where to get the information to buy a house, what you can expect. Yes, the salaries are less. They're not by Canadian standards. However, if you're moving to the Dominican, are you going to live like a Dominican, or are you going to still live like an American? If you think you're going to go get Kraft dinner and you're going to go get peanut butter, it's not going to work, because you need then to have that Canadian or the North American income coming in. But if you go and live off the tiendas and all these things that you get at the beach, just like the locals do, you'll be rich. But there's that divide. I want the people at the beach to see that I'm living in a nice house, or I want them to see that I get new food. I want them to see at the restaurant. It's the same thing with I want to make sure Tom, Dick, and Harry see what I have, what I drive, versus I'm jealous that you're walking across the beach and you're in the beach. I'm jealous of that, right? So first, set yourself up. The first question I ask people when they're working with me is, what do you want? I don't know where to go, because I don't know what you want.
That's what I asked them. What do you want? I actually asked them, what do you want and what do you need? Because in this case, sometimes what they want is not what they need. So for example, when we moved here, we wanted to live on the beach, and we found what I guess at good Dominican standards at the time was a great deal on a penthouse, 2-story penthouse. We did it. We got what we wanted. Did we need all that space? Heck no. It was so big and ridiculous. Like, it really was too big. So I have had clients who have said, oh, we want a 3-bedroom villa up in the mountains and blah, blah, blah. And then they ended up buying, or they ended up renting a 2-bedroom condo in a community away from the beach. Like, it just changes like every time. So I think to your point, what do you want? And then what do you need is the next question.
Well, right. If you're living in Montreal and you're spending $5,000 a month, you're getting that money coming in, right?
Yeah.
Again, when you make a budget, it's what do you need to survive? What would you like to have? And ooh, this is a splurge, right? And
yeah.
If you don't have a budget before you start, like in life, you'll never make it, because you don't even know where you're starting. I'm spending $5,000 in Canada. I want to spend $3,000 in the Dominican. Am I still making the same amount of money? Because at $3,000, even $2,000, you could get much more than what we get here for $5,000. Again, not living in the penthouses, not, walk 15, it's like a hotel when you go on vacation. So it's, what do I need to survive is the first thing. Why am I moving to the Dominican? Because I can walk 2 steps to the beach, or because I don't want the weather, because I'm tired of Bill 25, because I'm tired of everything that's going around remind yourself why you're going.
Yeah.
If you remind yourself why you're going, you will be rich. I promise that you will be rich, because you're not going to take your house from here and move it there. It's not the same thing.
And I think one of the things, Monica, if you can clarify, because when people hear the word budget, I think they equal restriction. They think that they can't live if they're on a budget. And this is a myth that you demystify all the time.
Exactly. When I say budget, well, no, I can't live on a budget. I don't want this woman on the other side of the screen telling me what to do. And in fact, every single one of my clients, as soon as they start working with me, they have money where they don't know where it came from. Budget gives you freedom. Budget helps you decide, do I want this $5 coffee or this? Short story, I went to Chicago 2 weeks ago. I brought my Tupperware cup. I had 3 little vials. One was with my chocolate syrup, one was my coffee, and one was my creamer. I would go to Starbucks and say, may I have hot water and a puppuccino? I asked for hot water. A puppuccino is they give you free whipping cream. I put their free pumpkin spice, and I made my coffee for free. For free. My friends got a Starbucks twice a day, and I paid nothing. Okay, people might think I'm strange, but I just want to drink the coffee. I don't care that there's a woman on the outside.
Yeah.
So would I have rather get a coffee than spend a good meal? No, I'd rather spend a good meal, and it's about the experience. So it's my choice. So
that's right.
What do you want? Why are you moving in the first place?
Yeah.
Because I want to give my daughter a better chance. Why are you moving? I want to give my daughter a better education. I want to give her a different education. I want not to take care of this stupid snow removal all the time. I don't want to deal with that, because you can't say you don't want to deal with Quebecers, because they're all there anyway.
Yeah.
So why are you moving? Why?
I think a lot of people that moved here because of COVID. So they had this fear that, of a better life. They came here, but when they came here, they lived like they were on vacation. And I think that's a big no-no. Like, when you arrive somewhere, if you're literally moving to that country, enjoy a vacation for 2 weeks at the beginning, but then its reality needs to sink in. Because if you're going to be on vacation, it's easy to lose all your money in vacation mode. It's like, oh, we'll just spend, we'll go to the restaurant, we'll do this, we'll do that. And eventually your bank account's going to be at 0 if you keep that up. So I think it's to get people out of that vacation mode if they're literally going to live here. Because I know people a year later, they're still in vacation mode. And it's like
12 months.
I know, and they are running low. They are, now having to go back to Canada and possibly find a job.
You have some people that the spouse lives there and the other spouse goes to work.
Yeah.
Then what's the reason that we moved to the Dominican in the first place, or Costa Rica, or wherever else? Why am I moving if I'm having to go and schlep and do all this and be alone and without my spouse or without my kids, whatever the situation is? So the most important thing is take the time to plan. I say 12 months should be minimum. Find information with somebody like Natalie. Again, you sell Gel Moments. If somebody can get into Gel Moments or any kind of business that can follow you, you know that this is what you need and this is what you have as a regular income coming in. Start now. In 12 months, you never know where you're going to be. Don't wait till you're in the Dominican to start Gel Moments, for example. Start it when you're planning.
You are so right on that. You are, because a lot of people don't wait. They literally, it's last minute and it's like, oh, I need something. Like I see people here saying, oh, we're moving in the next couple of weeks to the DR. Where can we find a job?
Well, it's because some people, I honestly believe, I worked on cruise ships for 12 years. I honestly believe it goes up every year. It's 11 years. I honestly believe that if people leave their brain at the airport.
Yeah.
When on the ship, I used to have doctors and lawyers, and it was as if they left their brain at the door. Do these stairs go up or down? What time is midnight buffet? Like, these are legitimate questions. So if I leave my job today in Canada, where am I going to get another job tomorrow to be able to? It doesn't make any sense, but we think that, oh my God, I'm going somewhere. It should be easy. Yeah, go pick bananas. You'll get 5 cents an hour. Great. I can get you a job tomorrow. The thing a lot of people think of is, in 3 years, I want to be here. Well, they don't start until 3 years. How come I'm not where I am? Well, if you don't write it down and don't action on it, it's still a dream.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think part of being here too is being open to the opportunities that do present themselves. Everyone's story is unique, right? So when people do call me, I say to them, what's going to work for you is not going to work for someone else. And it's about finding that fit, so yes, you may think, I've had people say to me, oh, my budget is $3,000 a month for rent. And I think, why? There's so many opportunities out there that is not $3,000 a month. And you can have an equally nice home with all the fixings and, and everything. And we've experienced, I think it's 5 different locations now. And I think where we are right now is probably is in the top 2. And it has to do with community. It has to do with my daughter being surrounded by great people, safety, security. So these are all factors that you have to think about. When I see the posts online, like, oh, you can, this house is worth 400,000 in Canada, and then this house in the DR is worth this much, but you're not telling the folks all the truths, right? All the things that are attached to those houses, right? The HOA fees, the electrical bill that you're going to have to pay through the nose for, because electricity here is so expensive, that they're going to need a car because the house is probably located somewhere where they can't walk anywhere. So these are all really important factors to consider, whether you're relocating for 6 months, 8 months, or if you want to do it permanently. I think my biggest group of people that I help are people who are going to retire, or who are coming here like snowbirds, right? So I want to say they're vulnerable people because, they don't necessarily have all the lay of the land. If they've been coming here many years, yeah, they're fine. But the newbies, not so much.
Also, I believe I was reading a bit on this, is that because of all of us flocking to the Dominican, the prices went up exponentially just because.
Yes. Right? Prices have raised drastically.
Yeah. I mean, so buying a house should have been 50,000 in the Dominican, where now it's maybe 120 to 200. Correct. The other thing is, before even living or coming, the budget that you have, how much does it cost you to survive in Montreal? I know we wanted at one point, Natalie, to make a questionnaire on, yes, I would like to have, and I think you had a client that says, I want to have this amount of money for rent. This is a long time ago. But then he didn't have any other disposable. He had like $500 disposable to eat and to do and to this. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, planning ahead, again, if you're going to go into an MLM or let's say Gel Moments, I would definitely say, okay, Shauna, I'm moving. in 12 months. And this could be something that you can also promote, is that if you are leaving in this, get into something now, build your team.
Yeah.
So that when
Yeah.
you get there, you know for a fact that you have 1,500, whatever coming in residually.
Yeah, because a lot of people, like you say, don't have a plan, or they get all their information. And here's another one that I really think that they should use Natalie's services, is that they get all their information from Facebook groups. They believe everything that's being written, and it's like they get here and they're flabbergasted because they realized half the stuff that they read wasn't true. And like Natalie said, they'll say, well, my budget's 3,000, but you could probably get something for 1,800 just as beautiful. And look, we've just saved you $1,200. But people believe everything that they read. That's the problem.
The beach is free, right?
Yeah.
Beach is free.
I come to the Dominican Republic, I want to open my door, sit outside and have a coffee, which is free. I want to go to the beach. It's free. That's what we, coming from here, one of the major things is the weather and the politics there are in these provinces that we live.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know for me, I wanted more of a simpler lifestyle. We downsized. We went from a 4-bedroom home to a 2-bedroom little tiny villa. I realized I didn't need those big material things. I'm happy with the little things, but some people come here and it's a big show. Well, I have the best house and I have the best car. And it's not about that. It's about finding your inner happiness and being happy with where you're at. And, like, we didn't realize that minimal living would make us happy. You know what I mean? There's so much less to clean up too, right? Because you got these little places.
Yeah.
And it's cozy. Sure, I love the big homes and I would love that. But why have that when I would just be throwing all my money away at rent?
Listen, if you can afford it, all power to you.
Yeah.
If the reason you're moving to the Dominican is to say, I want a much bigger house for a cheaper price, okay, because you're setting yourself up for that. But again, just remind yourself where you're there. There's no boots. Again, there's no snow removal. There's none of that stuff.
No.
Yeah.
And for me, that's huge. If I would ever move, it would definitely be that. Because I know that I could take my kids anywhere. They could learn. I could do my business anywhere. My husband's at McGill, so he has to wait. But it's for that reason. I would live with what's in my suitcase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So, Monica, anybody, and I guess we're sort of focusing on the people who are coming here, but the people who are already here right now, and Shauna and I know, and this is not about shame or pointing fingers, but we know there are people that are having a hard time. And listen, I will be the first to say on record that we've had a hard time here. We've had our moments. I think 2022 into 2023 knocked us down. But I guess there was something in me that was willing to fight, and we're on the upswing. It's coming. Like, we can feel it, we can see it. Listen, I'm leaving today for the biggest set of contracts I've ever had with Team Talk. I mean, Monica and I talked about this last year, and she says, well, don't you want 5 figures? And I was like, I didn't believe I could do 5 figures. I'm doing 5 figures.
How can life get
fantastic?
Yeah. So how can life get any better than this? It's possible. There are things that are doable. So if you are here right now, what are the things, maybe Shauna too, you can chime in. What are the things that people can do right now to start shifting a little bit so that they can feel like they can take a bit of pressure off and know they can still go to the beach for free and have their coffee sitting outside for free?
My opinion is, again, I'm up there, but working on cruise ships for such a long time, some people have gone from one place to one place because they have downsized, because it's not about what other people see around me. If you have that same philosophy in Montreal, you'll have the same philosophy anywhere else you go. I'm saying Montreal because that's where I'm from. I would honestly suggest, and at one of your talks, you could do this so anonymously that they could start doing a workshop with themselves on, okay, how much do we actually spend every single month? Am I overspending or am I not? What is necessary? And again, now I've started to split things up in must survive. If I didn't have this, I couldn't live. The middle one is, if I use this stuff, does it mean I have to move back? I don't need it. Why am I here again? It's always, you start, why am I here? You work on writing down, even on a piece of paper, what are all the expenses I have? And ask yourself, highlighters, necessary? Okay. Oh, I would love to splurge. And from there, you reprogram yourself to what is necessary. Is it more important that you stay there, or that you have to come home for 6 months and work?
I feel like there's a workshop in there, Shauna, with
Yeah,
Monica.
no, we need to do that. And I really think we do.
You
Yeah,
do it.
Shauna, what do you
I know
what do you think
me-
people can do to change or
Me
shift?
personally,
I just want to say, I'm gonna lose track here, but I know me personally, for us, it's cheaper for us to live here. But I downsized. I don't have the space, and you know what I mean? Like, it is much cheaper for us to live here. Like, we've done our budgeting, definitely cheaper. But like, I literally have a quarter of the space that I did back home.
it's also the social. Okay, so everybody that goes there when they are on vacation, they always want to take out their biggest, their best. I have the nicer house, I have the bigger boobs, I have this, you know, I lie down, they don't go underneath my arms. It's all about saying, what do I have that you all have to be envious about me? If you live like that at home, you will live like that out. But if you really don't give a shit what your neighbor says, you live your life. The most important thing in your house are 4 things: the walls, that you have enough food to eat, you have the clothes, and you have the education for your children. That's all that's necessary. Because if you tell me that I'm going to bring my child to the Dominican and they say, Mommy, I want a bike, and I say, no, they're going to complain. I mean, head's going to spin so fast because you're at the beach every day.
Yeah.
You get to run around in shorts. You get to enjoy so much. You get to learn how to surf. You get to meet people, and you learn a different language. It's amazing, the benefits. Instead of saying, what am I giving up? It's, what am I gaining by going over there?
Yeah. I gained my mental health by coming here. I was highly depressed back home. You know what I mean?
A lot of
And
people now that are depressed there because they are still having that mentality. Listen, I've learned 8 languages, and I've learned that if I think in English and translate, I will never learn the language. I've had to think in Spanish or Italian or Greek to be able to survive in those countries. So when you go to the Dominican, you should be thinking in Spanish. You should be thinking in Dominican. What would I do? Instead of what would Jesus do, it's what would the Dominicans do?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're moving into there.
Well, I wouldn't
That's right.
say that so much, because some of the Dominicans like to live the high life though. So it depends
yeah.
which Dominicans you're talking about. I think for me, it's about finding the resources, you know. I mean, yes, the grocery stores are there, but we have a lot of locals that sell great food. There's a couple local butchers. What did you say?
Cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls, yes.
No.
But there's people that bake fresh foods there's markets, there's things that you can go and get that you can save on a little bit. And especially you have to buy local and not imported. The minute you buy an imported product, for sure you're paying. I saw somebody post in their stories today or yesterday about Ziploc bags. You know, the box of Ziploc bags is like $10 Canadian. Not everything is cheap here, right? So you have to be wise. You have to be wise, and it takes a little bit of time, and you do have to give yourself that grace period. I met a lady who moved here probably about a month ago at one of the local stores, Playero, and she was like, "Oh my God, Natalie, you do the videos," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's so nice to meet you." And she says, and I sort of glanced into her cart, and I didn't say anything. And we talked, and I said, so you're doing is this your first grocery? And she goes, oh yeah, it's my first grocery haul. I said, enjoy it. She had every product that she knew from Canada was in the basket. Every one of them, the cereals, the orange juice. And I get it. It's familiar. You don't have to worry about it because you know it. But as time goes on, you're not going to buy the $8 bottle of Tropicana orange juice because it's $8.
US.
Yeah, but it's funny that you say that, Natalie, because our first shop at Playero, a lady literally we asked a question of something where, like in the store, because we had just gotten here, and I didn't know Playero, even though I had traveled here my entire life. I just didn't know Playero. So I'm in there, and she made a comment. She goes, do you mind if I look at your cart? She goes, I want to see, she says, because I see a lot of expats coming in here and they're overspending and they're buying. And I literally had bought in all the local brands. Like I had Goya in there. Like I had nothing imported other than a bag of Lay's and a bag of Doritos. That is it.
Yeah.
Goya is the juice company.
It's about being, you know, here, it's about work, you know, you have to be smarter about things. That's, you know, I mean, you should be smarter back wherever you're from as well, but if you're going to a new country, there are all these things to consider. Okay, so if we want to wrap this up, Monica, what's your top one thing that people need to do?
Why? It's always the
Why
same.
are you doing it? Oh,
Why
I
are
love
you
that.
doing it?
Why are you doing it? Shauna, what's your top thing that people need to consider if they don't want to go broke in the DR?
Really think about hiring Natalie. That my thing is hire Natalie. I have seen so many horror stories of people coming here and then in regret. And I've heard people say, I should have hired her. I should have hired her. And unless you've been coming here your whole life like me, and I know the drill, like I know a lot of stuff, but it still took me time to get familiar with where to shop. We know all that. Natalie knows all that. She knows where to save money, where you're going to get screwed. She knows all that. So why come down here and have that problem when she can help you eliminate all those little problems that you will, come into? And trust me, they're hard on you. When you're in another country and you have no friends and family around, you start to break down. And I've seen it multiple times when if they would have hired someone like Natalie, they could have avoided half of that, more than 80% of that.
Yeah. And I think for me that my top tip is find a good resource. So yes, someone like myself, don't believe everything you read. Don't believe everything you read because there are people that have been here a long time and I think they're a little bit jaded. There's people that are new that don't have the experience and there's a lot of like, I hate to use the word misinformation, but that's part of what happens. So if you do have questions for Monica about budgeting, I'm going to drop her information in the description. You'll be able to reach out to her. And if you want help with your budget, whether you're here in the DR or you are in Canada, she is the gal you want to talk to. She's been my support system for the last 2.5 years that we've been here. Shauna is here in Villas Maribela with me. Her and her husband manage the properties here. If you want to know about direct sales, Shauna is your gal. She has all the experience in her tool belt, so you can talk to her about that. And for myself, if you want to relocate and you just don't know where to start, we need to have a conversation and figure out where you could be and where direction you should go in. Ladies, thank you so much for doing this. I just got goosebumpies. Monica, thanks for chiming in from Montreal. I will see you soon. Whatever you choose to do today, I hope you have a wonderful day and we'll see you soon in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.